So tahini, couple reasons. I wanted to work in food because I always loved food. I also realized that food, like through all the piecework that I had done, food was always a place where we could actually bring people together and they would actually like build relationships, and you could feel those connections happening over a meal.
You know?
Something that people, everybody has food in common, right? It's like the universal equalizer. It's like a universal language. But also the way it worked out, Israelis and Palestinians make tahini. There's actually a somewhat of a history of Israelis and Palestinians working together over tahinis that has to do, like, during the first Intifada, the Israelis had already learned to love tahini, but they closed off the border during the Intifada of exports from the West Bank and Gaza into Israel, and all of a sudden there was a tahini shortage. So the Israelis needed their tahini, and they started to work together with Palestinians to figure out how to make it themselves, and that's how the Israeli tahini industry got its start, but it also like within this sort of cooperative sense. But there was enough business for everyone, and that's the idea here is that, I mean, America, the world, it's like a huge market. There's enough to go around, and it's this idea that we can like take the pie and expand it, and then each one gets a smaller percentage of a bigger piece of the pie, so you win, right? Yeah, well, the idea is like, can we make peace profitable? Because right now, there's no incentives. There's really no incentives. Like, the people who have the power right now, it's in their interest to maintain the status quo because they stay in power. There's no demand from the bottom up of Israelis and Palestinians, especially in the mainstream, of like wanting peace because they're afraid, which is fair. And there's also this like whole peace industry that exists because there's no peace deal. So like the incentives are a little perverse. Think about it. If a peace NGO, if there's peace, they're out of a job. These are people who've been working in these industries for 30, 40 years and been doing things in like a certain way, and they're super good and, you know, well-intentioned, all of them. But there's no incentive to get out of that, which is crazy. I work with, right now, an Israeli and a Palestinian family business. For their own protection, I keep them anonymous. They are not in the position right now to really be vocal about this because we're still in the space where that could be dangerous for them. But the idea is that after the crowdfunding campaign, we'll be able to bring more businesses into the fold and help to like sort of spread that risk around. No, they don't work together, and they won't yet. I don't sell enough tahini for that, and I try to be transparent about that. That like, this is a real conflict, and I definitely don't sell enough for that yet. So the hope is, if we can sell enough tahini, then we have the financial incentive for them to work together, because it's either you're in for, you know, you either want a piece of this deal or you don't. That's right. So Sesamaise tahini is essentially a pilot, or like if a theory of change is a hypothesis, this is the experiment on the hypothesis to say, if this can work, then maybe other people can use the same business model of a supply chain that works together, and they'll copy the business model so that all of a sudden it's not just one business that's building bridges between these communities, it's many businesses. And then the idea would be that Sesamaise would evolve into like a knowledge sharing and like consulting hub where we're helping other businesses use the same business model to be successful, because we prove that a triple bottom line is possible. And then using those market forces to build that like movement from the grassroots of people who understand that cooperation is better than competition, and then to like duplicate that at scale.